Hey, and welcome back to the Rise and Recreate podcast, a space where we dive into the stories of people who have dared to choose themselves and rewrite the entire script of their lives, maybe multiple times. Today, I'm joined by Dalia, a life and mindset coach for women who have always felt like the black sheep. After living a normal, check all the boxes kind of life, she took a completely different path, solo traveling, becoming a digital nomad, and building a business from the ground up. Now she helps other women find the courage to break the rules, trust their inner voice, and live a life they won't regret. So, thank you so much for being here. It is an absolute pleasure to connect with you. I would love for you to just introduce yourself to everyone and tell us about where you are currently in life.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I still find it wild that we are literally on different days right now because you are recording in evening and it's already the next day, my morning, which is crazy and wild and pretty damn cool, really. Um, so I am Dalia. Like you said, I am a life and mindset coach for women who feel like they're the black sheep. And I am very passionate about supporting women in finally having the clarity and the courage to actually choose themselves. Because I know what it's like to tick off all the boxes and do all the things, and life looks great on paper. And inside, you are burnt out, and you know, there's this knowing that there's meant for more. That like, is this really all there is to life? Um, and my whole journey actually started back when I reflect back. I really see that a lot of it started after having the courage to walk away from a toxic relationship over a decade ago now, and through that journey and really rebuilding my confidence from the ground up, that's what led into solo travel, seeing different cultures, seeing a different way of life, seeing that there is a different way to live. And it opened my eyes to so many different things. And there was really no going back from that place. So I think something that I'm so passionate about, and it's what I bring into my work today, is literally that like there is so many different ways that you can choose to live your life. And just because everyone is doing one thing, if that's not meant for you and you don't feel that you're fitting into that box, there's nothing wrong with you. If you have a desire in your heart, it's yours and you're meant to go after it, however wild, however unconventional, however crazy that is. And I'm a big believer that when we do go after the things that truly light us up and when we do live in alignment, everyone gets to win from that because you're living your best life and you're genuinely happy and not happy from the outside, but inside you're like feeling dead and unfulfilled and empty. And everyone around you gets to benefit from that energy, and the impact and the light that you get to shine with the world is like radiates to everyone and just has this beautiful ripple effect. So yeah, that is in a nutshell.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm curious, when you had this life where, you had checked all of the boxes, what did that life look like for you? And what were the signals inside of your body that made you realize, ooh, this isn't it?
Yeah. So I was doing all the things that I thought would make me happy on paper. And honestly, I think it's really important to share this as well, that I think every single step brings us to where we're meant to get to. And I don't regret any of it. Like it was all meant to happen. It all happened exactly as it's meant to. I'm so grateful for everything that I did go through. Like I studied 2 degrees. I have a bachelor's, I have a master's degree. Like I use all of those things to today, and it all led me to where I'm meant to get to. So even though I was ticking off boxes and doing some things that I thought I was meant to do, and that was going to make me happy, and that was going to help me to climb the ladder and all of these things, I don't regret it. But I felt I was so trying to fit into a box that just wasn't for me. So what did that look like? It looked like at the time I did want to study, it looked like working in a job that was literally killing my soul inside, that I hated. It was like this office job that I hated walking into the office. I hated driving to the office. I hated coming back from there. It was just like it was draining my soul every single day and draining my energy. Um, it was, it was doing all of the things that I thought I was meant to do, like move out and live in a cute little apartment and have the perfect job on paper and have the degrees and have all of the things, and that was going to make me happy. And what I was finding was that in between the years of studying, like every time there was a semester break, I would work my ass off the whole year, go travel, and then come back and carry on studying and like doing the things I was meant to be doing. And the times that I was traveling, I felt alive. I was like, whoa, like I was waiting for that time of the year, like the in between periods where I would just travel and explore and see the world. And I think some people would say like, yeah, well, obviously you were traveling and you didn't have responsibilities, so you're going to enjoy your life then and it's going to be different. But it was more than that. It was this knowing that like, wow, like there's people that actually are living this way. And I remember when I first met a digital nomad, and I will never forget this. I was on this hop on, hop off bus traveling around New Zealand, and I met this couple off the, but we just got off the bus and I was like, classic travel question, like, how long have you been traveling for? And I remember they said, "Oh, we've been on the road for 4 years now." And I was like, "Huh? Tell me more. What do you do?" And that curiosity opened up a whole other world. And then I started seeing other digital nomads and meeting people who were working remotely and traveling at the same time. And I was also so sick of being in the loop of working the whole year to travel, to have fun, to come back, to be broke, to and start that loop again. And I was like, I got to find a way to make this work where I can travel, do the things that light me up, and actually work and make money at the same time. And the funny thing is, not that long after I made it work and I actually became a digital nomad, I actually realized the thing that I was craving most was stability. And I didn't want to travel around as much. And I didn't want to move around, which was actually like just very ironic. But I love, even until today, like I'm in one place and I love that. I'm a digital nomad who decided to stay in one place. But I love that I have the freedom and the option that if I want to, I can get on a flight tomorrow and nothing's holding me back and nothing's stopping me from doing that. So I think the reason I'm sharing this is because I think it's important to understand that things are always evolving. And even if you decide that you want to do one thing, you might realize you end up getting there. And then it's like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Or things have changed. And it's not about reaching the end goal. It's about who you're becoming and who you're being in the process and actually enjoying the whole journey of getting there as well. So that was a little tangent, but I think that was just important to share because it could be you're listening to this and you're going after this big dream and big goal. And I think it's really important to remember that oftentimes we go after something for the feeling, how we think it's going to make us feel. And then we get there and things start to shift. And it's like, what's gone wrong? Nothing's gone wrong. You're just evolving. You're human. Your desires are shifting. Your potential, you're growing. Your potential is growing with you. And things might evolve and things might shift. Things might shift. But I think as long as you are living in alignment and going after your desires, nothing and following your heart, like nothing can go wrong from that place.
And it's one of those cliche sayings where they say, the journey means more than getting to the destination. And I myself can relate to this. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. I did the same thing. I traveled all through my 20s. All I wanted was a job where I was remote and could travel. And then I got that, and all I wanted was a cute little place that I could decorate because I had been traveling so long. And there are no wrong decisions. That is just the way that life flows. And that's why it's so important to truly enjoy the journey on your way to your desire. I'm curious, when you were traveling and you met the digital nomads, what was your first digital nomad job that you got into?
Honestly, at the time, I remember when I first started making money online, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. But it was like nothing. I was literally just translating CVs. I was helping people with resumes. I was doing content writing. I was doing a bunch of random things that I just found on different websites online. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. You can make money online. But I knew that wasn't going to sustain me. So I was like, I need to find something that I'm not chasing like the next gig or the next thing. Um, but again, I think it's so important to remember that every single thing leads you to exactly where you're meant to get to. So if you're in a place right now, you listen to this and you're in a place in life where things are all over and you're like, I don't even know, like how things are working out, like trust that every single thing that you are doing right now is a stepping stone to exactly where you are meant to get to.
It absolutely is. So during this time, you you finally got the thing, and then you craved the complete opposite. You're like, "Oh boy, now I want stability." Well, take us through that process of just accepting that that is now what you wanted, not the thing you were just working towards.
Oh, wow. The biggest thing that's coming up here is to tap into how you are feeling. Because your intuition is always right. Like there's always like that little knowing, that little feeling inside. And I remember traveling in India, which is still one of my favorite places until today. And I remember just living out of a backpack. And I was just dreaming about literally, like you said, having that cute little apartment and being able to cook an omelet, make an egg for breakfast. Like that was literally what I wanted. And I was like, this is crazy. Back in the day, like a year before that, my dream was literally to be in an airport for like 10 hours for a layover, to feel like I was getting excited by traveling and like moving around and living out a backpack. And I was that, like, when I first started traveling and when I first started the whole digital nomad journey, that was like such a dream to live out a backpack. Like that excited me so much. And honestly, it got tiring so damn quickly. And I think too many people don't speak about this because from the outside, being a digital nomad looks beautiful and it looks amazing. And I don't need to go into the perks and the good side because it's like pretty obvious what those are as well. But there's also a lot of challenges that come with that. And it gets exhausting and it gets tiring to move around. And especially when you're working or when you're building a business, to have to keep on moving and to, like for me now, one of the biggest reasons why I stay where I am is because of the community and the people who I'm actually surrounded by it, and everyone else is building different and similar things, and we're kind of working and in that same energy. And I think who you're surrounding yourself with and the community and the people makes such a big difference. So to have to move around when you're not just traveling and you're actually building something and figure out where you are and figure out all the resources and the Wi-Fi and all of that important stuff and meet the right people and actually build connections and do all of that, like, and think about all the logistics of where am I going to live and where am I going to move and the actual traveling, it's a lot. And I think there's a time and place for it. And from conversations I've had with a lot of digital nomads or people who work remotely, a lot of people do that at the beginning and travel quickly to different places and move around a lot. And most people get tired by it very, very quickly and then crave like this stability or just being in one place, even if it's different stability from what you've grown up in and like the traditional 9 to 5 and being in the same place and all of that stuff. I think we all sometimes just crave that stability in that place that feels like home and feels like a base.
I definitely experienced that for myself. I traveled for a really long time, and then same thing. I was like, I just want like my own things, and I want to cook. That was my big thing too, was I wanted to cook. But this journey that you've led yourself on, everything you've done takes a lot of self-trust. Solo traveling takes a lot of self-trust. Building a business from the ground up takes a lot of self-trust. So I would love for you to explain to us how you cultivated this self-trust and then advice for somebody else who's working on cultivating self-trust.
Wow, this is a great question. And I think the biggest thing that is coming through is working through the power of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and really leaving your comfort zone. Because even with solo traveling, like now, honestly, it doesn't baffle me for a second. Even if I was going to go to somewhere new right now to like get on a plane and to travel somewhere, I trust myself enough. I know that I'm going to figure it out and things are going to work out. And I think, like you said, that is from a place of self trust. And it wasn't when I didn't have that back in the day. I was like, I don't trust myself. So it's not like, no, I don't think anyone says I don't trust myself and they have that knowing. But when you do trust yourself, it's like, that whatever's going to happen, you can handle it and you're going to figure it out. That is what self-trust looks like. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily like understand that. Um, but going back to that journey, the reason why I'm sharing this is because the first time I went solo traveling, it wasn't like I was born courageous or I was born with this level of self-trust. And I was like, I'm just someone who goes solo traveling. It's a muscle that was built. Like I will never forget the first time I got on a plane, and actually Thailand was my first solo travel trip. And I never forget when I got on a plane and the wheels like literally took off the ground and I literally said to myself, what the fuck am I doing? And I freaked out. I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to the other side of the world. I'm by myself. I don't know anyone. What am I going to do? Like, I don't even know this country. Like, what the hell? What am I doing? And all of these fears started to kick in. And I still remember how self-conscious I was when I was sitting alone and eating in restaurants or when I was doing things that just made me feel uncomfortable. And now I look and I'm like, I do these things and I do it because I choose to and I actually enjoy it. Like I enjoy going to cafes now and sitting by myself and I don't have any issue with it. And I'm not looking around and thinking, oh my God, what are these people thinking of me? But those are things I work through. But the only way I worked through them wasn't by sitting there and imagining it or just
Mhm.
pretending or faking it until I make it or whatever else not. It was actually just being in the game and doing the things and pushing myself every single time outside of my comfort zone and realizing that oftentimes one of the reasons why we fear that the most is just from a feeling. That feeling of
Yes.
discomfort doesn't always feel good, and we avoid it because we don't want to feel that way. But when you actually allow yourself to feel that and you realize, I'm still alive. Nothing bad, crazy is happening right now. I'm still here. It's all good. I can handle this. I can do this. The more you actually build that muscle, and that's how you essentially build that self-trust as well. And even with whatever you are doing in life, like whether it's building a business, whether it's solo traveling, whether it's betting on yourself, like it's so easy for our brain to think of the worst case scenario and all the what ifs and all the things that could happen. But when you actually consciously train it to think of like, but what if everything works out? What if everything's going right for me? Like, what if, like, when you trust that, like this deep knowing and this deep trust that it's all going to work out, and you even use your own past experience as proof that like maybe there was something in the past where you didn't know it was going to work out and it worked out better than you can imagine. Or maybe you surround yourself with someone who's already doing the thing you want to do. And then you're like, oh my God, like if they're doing it, I can do it as well. You start to build that. It's something, I would say it's a muscle, and it's something that comes um, with the gift of time and with the gift of practice and actually just putting yourself out there as well.
I completely agree. And my journey has been very similar. It is absolutely a muscle. The first time you do anything can be scary as hell. And then you realize, oh, wait, that wasn't that bad. Actually, the stories I was thinking of how bad it was going to be made me feel worse than actually doing the thing. Interesting. So you've mentioned alignment and, traveling and doing things that you really felt you were in alignment with. And I would love for you to speak on what alignment feels like in your body and how you personally can tell when you're in or out of alignment, and then any advice you have for people around that as well.
Wow. Okay. The biggest thing that's coming up right now is when things flow and when things, I think there's a difference between ease and easy. But when things
Mm.
feel ease and they flow, you're in alignment. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean you don't put in the work. It doesn't mean you're not putting in time, effort, energy, all of those things. But when things feel ease and they feel natural and they just flow, you're in alignment. When you are forcing things, you are so out of alignment. When you are putting extreme pressure on yourself, when you're feeling, when, you know what, the biggest way I'm going to take a step back, the biggest way I would explain it is alignment. When, if you tap into your body, when you're in alignment, you feel kind of like, I would say, expansive, and your body is just like like flowing. You're not like tensing up, right? Whereas when you're out of alignment, there's that feeling of you're thinking about the thing you want to be doing or the thing that you're going after, and there's that contraction, and you're feeling tense and you're feeling pressure and you're feeling forced to do things. So I think our body is really a great sign to really tap into that and see like, when you're thinking about this thing, how is it making you feel? Is it making you contracted? Is it expanding you? That's a great sign if you're in alignment or not. And another example that's just come into mind is relationships. You know how in relationships, when they're meant to be, they just flow and things happen and everything aligns and nothing, it's not that you don't put in the work, but things aren't um, forced. Whereas when you're trying to force something to work and you're trying to make it happen and it's just not happening and the universe is trying to make you, I don't know, do all of these things, whatever else not, it's not in alignment. It's not that something's gone wrong. You're just not with the person you're meant to be with. And when you are with the person you're meant to be with, or when you're doing the thing you're meant to be doing, everything, you just see everything start to flow. Everything works. That's literally it. Like listen to your body and
Mhm.
notice if things are flowing or if things are just feeling forced and contracted.
I completely agree. And you can tell the difference too. When you're in a contracted state and you feel fear, the mind starts to spiral. You start like fighting against yourself. When you're in an expanded state and you feel a little bit of fear, it's almost like an excited fear. Like the fear is there. You're a little nervous to do it, but the overweighing feeling and emotion is the excitement. And before we jump into more of how people can tap into their feelings in their body, I just really wanted to say for those of you listening who are like, well, this sounds nice, but I can't just jump on a plane to Thailand tomorrow to go explore myself and know what this all feels like in my body. I highly encourage you to get out of your comfort zone in your own town. Go out to a cafe by yourself if that feels uncomfortable for you. Go walk around a museum by yourself. Go take yourself to a movie. Just get out there and do something by yourself that makes you feel a little uncomfortable to prove to yourself that it really is not that scary. And I just really wanted everybody to know that you don't necessarily have to go travel the world to find yourself. You can tap in and find yourself at any moment. And so, speaking of tapping in and finding yourself, the life recreation process happens over and over and over again. And I know you mentioned earlier that you are in the midst of recreating your life again. So, if you could take us inside of what that's looking like for you right now.
Yeah, of course. I love having these real and raw conversations as well. And going back to what you were just sharing earlier, I'm so happy that you shared that because I think something that traveling has interestingly taught me as well is that it's not necessarily just about finding yourself. It's like literally you get to create yourself. You get to create that life that you want to be living. And right now, I'm literally going through a phase of life where everything again is feels like it's falling apart, but at this point in time, I just know that everything's fallen apart to actually make space for everything to come together in the best and the biggest and the most beautiful way possible. And as cliche as that sounds, I've just been through this so many times. I just know like everything is recollaborating, however you want to say it, in order for everything to come together in a ways that you can't yet see it. And that's where that level of trust also comes into play so much. Um, so recently, actually a while back, I actually set an intention. I'm very big on like intentions, and I was like, what am I calling into my life right now? And the two things that were coming up for me was money and love. And literally very quickly after that happened, I was like in a kind of relationship, maybe situationship at the time, but that very quickly ended. I was like, I'm calling in love. That ended. The universe was telling me like that was not in alignment. Then I was calling in, I was like, oh, I'm calling in money in the most aligned and beautiful way possible as well. And I lost the job that I was in literally a few days afterwards. Everything was falling apart. And I knew in the moment, I was like, when all of this happened, I was like, I've manifested this. And I know that may sound crazy. We manifest everything in our life. And I think sometimes it's really powerful to remember that if you are wanting something or if you are desiring something, the universe sometimes gives you the complete opposite. And I don't even see it as a test. I see it as like it's literally delivering it to you to be like, can you handle this? Can you handle the flip side before you want to get to that side? And if you can handle this, then you can handle both. But you can't expect to have all of the things and everything that you want before you can handle the complete flip and the other side of it. And actually knowing that,
Mhm.
I just see it as opportunities to really tap even deeper into that level of trust. Trust in
Mhm.
yourself, trust in the universe, trust in everything that everything is really happening for you and it's not necessarily happening to you. Um, so yeah, right now I'm in a phase where I'm rebuilding and I would say pivoting what I'm doing in the coaching world as well. And I remember when all of this started a little while ago, I was like, I have no idea how this is all going to work out and what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be more incredible and more amazing than I can even see or I can even imagine right now. And I think for a lot of people, like when that fear kicks in of like, oh my God, I've lost my job, or oh my God, like this relationship has ended and it's like the worst thing that's happening to me. What if it's not happening to you and it is happening for you? And what if that is a stepping stone to exactly where you want to get to? And I know
Mhm.
this may sound woo woo, and I know people might be like, "Yeah, that sounds nice, but how do I actually like?" I'm feeling all of these things. I think emotional intelligence is like a big part that comes into it as well, because when you allow yourself to actually feel your emotions, but not let them take over you and actually control your whole life, a lot can really shift from that place. Like that's definitely something I'm very big about because it's not about toxic positivity and not allowing yourself to feel how you're feeling, but allowing yourself to actually feel it and be in it and still move forward. Like I can still show up for my business and be going through a breakup at the same time. I can still be
Mhm.
having a crap day and not feeling great and not let that completely dictate what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day. And
Mhm.
I think having that compassion and having that balance is a really powerful thing because a lot of people, and I've been in this place and still, I still sometimes get in this place and I have to remind myself, like, if we are always relying on circumstances to be perfect and things outside of us to be perfect in order to show up, nothing's going to move. Nothing's going to happen. I'm literally talking to myself or as much as I'm talking to you guys listening as well. But like we get to always, we have the power within us and we get to create the lives that we want to live. And I think something that's really powerful to remember is that it's never too late. And so many people hold themselves back because they think it's too late and I'm too old and I'm not this enough or I'm not that enough or whatever it is. I've literally had clients who are over 60 years old and have completely transformed their lives. I've
Mhm.
had people who have been in the same job for decades and have decided like they're done enough. and
Mhm.
they've completely transformed their career path. Like nothing is impossible unless you think it's impossible. And when you do truly just like take one step at a time, like I think a big thing to remember is that even if like I have a big vision for where I'm going, and that might seem really far away right now. Like I'm right here, right now. My vision and where I want to get to might actually all unfold in the next 5 years. So if I'm thinking like I'm over here and my vision's over there, and that feels way too big or way too overwhelming or way too much, a lot of people end up just not taking any action because they're like, oh, it's not even possible. Like that feels way too big, way too far away. I'm not even going to go after that thing. But when you realize that every single step that you're taking to get there is a seed that you're planting that's building you up to there, everything starts to really shift from that place. So that's literally like, I would say the mindset that I'm in right now for like in my life and everything that's kind of feels like it's all over is that every time I'm showing up, I'm planting a seed and I just see this as the most beautiful tree and beautiful plant that's going to be growing. And I'm so freaking excited to see the fruits of that. But right now, I'm even more excited to plant those seeds. And I think that's where the shift really is, because I've definitely been in a place in life before where I'm literally just focused on getting to the goal and reaching that. And then I'm going
Mhm.
to be happy. And then then I can breathe and be at peace and everything's going to be great. And I'm like, no, like I don't even know what color those trees are going to look like. I don't
Yeah,
know what fruits that's going to spout, but I know that that all I can do right now is do everything in my control and in my power to create the most beautiful seeds that I know are going and trust are going to grow into the most beautiful thing that I don't even know what and how that's going to look like right now, but I trust it's going to be freaking good.
I love this so much. I feel like just your energy right now is it's just lighting me up. So, a few things I heard here. First of all, a lot of times the breakdown does happen before the breakthrough. I personally have noticed this multiple times in my life, and that's the time when you really have to anchor into your self-trust and your belief the most, and even though you feel like, "Oh, no, this may not be working out for me. What have I done?" All of the stories start coming in, all of the questioning starts coming in. That's okay, that's natural. Sit with it, be with it, acknowledge it. Don't latch on, don't get attached, watch it flow through you. And so for you, when these stories come up, and they always will come up, we always are creating stories for ourselves, and then we create the stories a little bit against ourselves too. And when those stories, or what some people would call like limiting beliefs, come up, do you have like any tools or things you do to move those through your body and be able to not grip onto those?
I do journal. I think that's definitely something that's been very powerful for me. And I don't necessarily have a specific structure of like, this is how you need to do it. But sometimes literally putting your thoughts on paper allows you to gain a lot of clarity. So I would say like in the most simple form, take a piece of paper, write down what's in your mind, and you might actually gain a lot of insights just from doing that. There's a lot of power in that. If you don't connect to journaling, if you don't like that, another thing I do, I literally have a WhatsApp group with myself and I send myself a voice note. And sometimes I'll literally go outside and I'll walk and people would think I'm crazy and I'm literally talking to myself and it will look like I'm on a phone call. Like I don't really care. But that and like just letting it out in whatever way feels good, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking it out, makes a big difference. And it actually helps you sometimes to clarify your own thoughts instead of it staying stuck in your head. So I think getting it out is
Absolutely.
like the first um big thing. And breathing. I can't emphasize this enough. Like literally sometimes just taking a breath and focusing on the big picture. There's so many different ways that you can, I would say, distract yourself like I think shifting your mood is a big thing, because I think oftentimes when we get into that space, that headspace of those limiting beliefs and the things that are holding us back, it often makes us feel a certain way. And then when we feel a certain way, that impacts the next thing that we're going to be doing. So I think to realize that you have a lot of power to shift your emotional state and to shift your mood, that in itself can make a big difference. And you can literally do that from the comfort of your home. You could literally put on a song that makes you happy and stand in your living room and dance for 3 minutes. Notice how that in a second shifts your mood and you're going to be in a different headspace. You could literally put on YouTube a quick clip of some stand-up comedy and laugh for a few seconds. That is going to shift your mood. And when you're shifting your mood and you're intentionally focusing on that, a lot can really change from that place. And then you're just in a different headspace. You're thinking differently. You can actually take different action from that place. So I think those are the things that are coming up that I would share are probably helpful in the moment instead of going into that spiral as well.
Absolutely. It's all about moving the energy and first self-awareness, noticing. Notice when you're in the
Yes.
spiral because sometimes you get caught up in the spiral before you even notice you're in it. And so it's taking that moment to be like, wait a second, all of these thoughts ruminating in my mind, these are not necessarily true. This is happening. A lot of times it's happening based on your past and what you've already lived through, and it can't see that future for you because your body's just trying to keep you safe. And so I would love for you to speak on this, like when you've made these big decisions and you've felt that fear in your body, just walk us through feeling that fear and doing it anyways.
I think again, it goes back to the body of how you're feeling. Like that fear literally feels like sometimes like your heart is literally gonna come out of your body. I've literally had moments like that where I feel like, oh my God, I feel like my heart is beating and racing so fast. I'm sweating right now. I'm like, my body is like literally, I feel like I'm not in control of my body. Like, what is happening right here? And that for me is like, is what fear feels like when you realize that you can feel those feelings and you can breathe into that and you can allow yourself to feel it and you can still take the action and move forward anyway. I think something that's really powerful to realize is that the other side of anything that you're going to be doing that is the scariest thing on the planet, it never feels as scary after you've done it.
Mhm.
So thinking about like literally sometimes even closing your eyes and imagining yourself in that moment after you've done that scary thing and how proud of yourself you're going to be and how you're going to feel afterwards and how you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad after all. I literally have this all the time when I get on camera. Like now you might see me on here and you might be like, oh, this woman sounds like super confident and she's always talking on camera. Guys, I still remember the first time one of my first coaches challenged me to put a video story on Instagram. It took me like over an hour to do this 15-second story on camera. And I was so self-conscious and I was literally shaking. And it took practice. But now, like looking back, the biggest thing that I would say to that version of myself is like, imagine how good you're going to feel afterwards. And I literally do
Mhm.
this to myself even now all the time. Like even if I sometimes get nervous about things, I'm like, I literally tap into not how good it's going to feel to do, but how good it's going to feel to have done, how good I'm
Yes.
going to feel afterwards and how proud of myself I'm going to be. And when I really feel into that, I'm like, well, obviously I'm just going to do this thing right now. And there's so much to go into this, but I think when you realize that like you can feel fear and you can feel all of these things and still make the move anyway, it's not like I don't see courage. Like a lot of people used to tell me like after I solo traveled, oh my God, you're so brave. You're so this, you're so that. And I used to say to them, like, I don't feel brave because yes, you see me getting on a plane and traveling the world. But then when I'm actually being brave and being vulnerable and wanting to speak on camera in front of the comfort of my own home, like that scares me more than literally jumping out of a plane and skydiving. So that for me wasn't brave. But again, I see courage. I don't see courage as being just being brave. I see it as actually having the fear, just like everyone else does, and you still do it anyway because you
Mhm.
know how. Going back to what I was saying at the beginning, like how being uncomfortable is going to lead you to where you want to get to. Like just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's literally where the growth is. Like when you understand that you can feel those feelings of discomfort and it's okay. It's okay. Like giving yourself that hug, giving yourself that space, and trusting that it's okay to feel those things and you can still move forward together with that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people, and you, I'm sure, have had experience with this starting your own business, but a lot of people really get stuck in that when they go to start their own business. They have this big idea, this big vision, and then they basically question it out of themselves. And so, for somebody who's listening right now who's very interested in starting their own business, they have ideas, they have thoughts, but they're stuck in that phase of will this work? Why me? Who am I to do this? What advice would you give somebody in that position?
I would say, and this is just going to be very blunt. So, I'm just going to say it as it is, get outside of your own head and focus on why you started your business in the first place and who needs to hear what you have to share today. That's it.
Mhm.
Like focus on the message and who needs to hear it. Because when we get too stuck inside of our own head, we forget that we are here to serve people. We are here to impact people. There is people that need to hear that message. They need to hear what you have to share. And you get it in your own head and holding back. is literally being a disservice of them. And that's literally why you got into business in the first place. So when you focus on that and why you started, I think that in itself is a game changer. And the other thing is to surround yourself with people who are allowing you to be in that, who are holding that vision for you, who are believing in you, who are allowing you to be in that space where you can literally just have that courage to move forward, even if you're super scared in the moment. Like literally who you're surrounding yourself with makes a big difference. Surround yourself with people who have already gone after the big things that you're going after. Listen to
Hmm.
uplifting podcasts, listen to podcasts like this. Like this is literally what these things are here for. You have the power every single day to wake up and to choose what you are putting into your mind. That in itself is going to be so powerful. It doesn't mean you're not going to have fear. It does not mean you're not going to have limiting beliefs. It does not mean that there's not going to be things and moments and times that you are doubting yourself and questioning yourself. We've all been there. And at the same time, you still get to choose what you're listening to, what you're consuming, and what you're doing about that. And there are so many resources and so many ways out there to tap into that. And you can literally decide, like, when I am having this thought, when I'm questioning myself, why am I even doing it? Like, I literally have a sign on my wall that says, when you feel like quitting, think about why you started. And it's so, so powerful. But also intentionally every day working on your mind, literally just like going to the gym. Same thing.
Hmm.
You can't just stop going to the gym and like, I'm just going to build that muscle. Mindset is exactly the same thing. You've got to be intentional every single day, what you are programming into that and what you are listening to and what you are consuming. And it will make a big, big difference in building that trust, in making sure that you are doubting yourself less and less questioning, less overthinking, and more being on that mission that you are meant to be doing and that you were here to create in the first place.
Absolutely. Two things came to my mind. One was like an image that came up with fear, and it's true. It never goes away. That's the duality of life. You're always going to feel the full range of emotions. And the image that came to mind was feeling the fear, and instead of trying to squash it down, you hold its hand and you walk with it. Like fear is with you. Sometimes it actually can be a very powerful force to help project you into what it is that you want to be doing anyways. Use it as fuel. And then the second thing that came to mind was just how you said every day, be intentional with what you're consuming, and also just be very mindful of where you're tricking yourself. Sometimes I think we can fall into the trap of accumulating so much knowledge that we know the thing we could be doing in the moment to pull ourselves out. So for instance, say you're having a bad day and your go-to habit is to go eat some snacky food and sit down and watch Netflix. I just encourage you to notice your habits and then choose to do something differently. You're like, oh no, this is a pattern. I always do this when I'm not feeling good. I then go treat myself with some food and some Netflix. I'm going to go walk real quick just for 5 minutes around the block. And just those tiny little micro shifts truly completely change your life. The momentum builds, and then next thing you know, you're like, "Oh, wait, now I don't feel good. I'm just gonna go for a walk real quick to shift my energy." And so I would love to talk about energy shifting with you and moving the energy through your body and how you notice, when your energy needs to be moved and the things that you do to shift your energy or frequency.
I love this question. And I would say, just building on from that, like I see emotions as energy in motion, like literally
Hmm.
that. So when you are feeling a certain way, if you are staying still and not, like, literally and figuratively staying still and not doing anything about it, your emotions are literally going to build and not move. It's literally why when you, for example, if you're sad and you cry, you feel so good afterwards. Do you actually like let it go? You've moved it. You've done something about it, right? There are so many things that we can do. Like for me, the biggest thing that allows me to shift an emotional state is movement and music. And I'm fully aware of that. So, and also listen to podcasts like that. And it's not that is big for me. So I know that I have a routine of going to the gym. And when I'm warming up at the beginning, I will listen to a podcast. I will literally warm up and listen to a podcast. And then I'll go and do I'll go into the workout. Or sometimes I'll listen to a podcast the whole workout. But I think the trick is I don't wait until I get into a negative emotional state to go to the gym. I actually make it a
Hmm.
routine where I go to the gym and I do that. And that in itself helps to, I wouldn't say maintain, it's not the right word, but like it helps to be in a routine of, I know that this is going to help me to start the day as I want to be feeling. And that's going to impact the rest of the day. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have moments of the day where I'm not feeling frustrated or not feeling all the things that as humans we tend to feel. Um, and I think there's a balance between knowing when to shift your emotional state and actually allowing yourself those moments to feel it and to sometimes feel sorry for yourself or whatever it is
Mhm.
and just be in it because we're human as well. And the biggest thing is that if you are resistant everything you're feeling, it's just going to go on like even more. So sometimes you actually just have to allow yourself to feel it. I'm definitely a big crier. So for me, that is like a big thing. It definitely helps. Like sometimes I'm like, sometimes it feels like for no reason, I'm like, I just need a good cry right now. That's it.
Mhm.
And I know that when I do it, I'm just going to feel so better afterwards because it's like this release. It's just a way of releasing. So that working out, music is like a game changer for shifting mood and shifting like everything. Um, I think understanding movement is really powerful. Like, you don't necessarily have to go to the gym to shift your emotional state. You can literally stand up right now and start shaking your body. Literally, like, shake for 3, 4 minutes, whatever it is, and you will feel completely different. And you can do that literally now from the comfort of your home. I would literally challenge you to try it and see how good you feel afterwards. Like, start shaking your hands, start shaking your feet, start shaking the rest of your body, and you'll literally feel how your body is moving, how your energy is moving. And they're like, ah, feel good. Literally doing this right now, guys. And yeah, that in itself is big. Like sometimes I will literally, like, especially if I'm sitting down all day and I'm working and on a laptop, I will literally get up at points in the day and I will literally either shake a little bit or stretch or move or just have a little dance or a little wiggle or whatever it is. And not necessarily because I'm in a place where I'm depressed or I'm sad or I need to like do this in order to move, but just to literally keep the energy flowing, keep the energy moving. Like, it's big.
Mhm.
And the other thing that's coming to mind as I'm speaking is, again, who you are surrounding yourself with, because that impacts energy so freaking much. Like, if you are with people who are draining your energy, surround yourself with people who are adding and actually, like positively impacting your energy. And it doesn't mean you need to disconnect from those people, but be mindful of how intentional you are, how much you are surrounding yourself with them, because it makes a huge, huge difference. Like, I'm definitely someone who feeds off energy for the good and the bad. So when I'm around people who are lighting me up, like, that just fuels me so much and adds to my life. And I literally like get excited thinking about this, like even now as I'm speaking to you. And if I'm with people who drain my energy or who are negative or whatever else not, like, that can shift my mood in a second. So I'm aware of that. So I'm very intentional around who I surround myself with. And if I need to take breaks from certain people, I'm okay with that. Like, I have acceptance around that. Because I know it's just I need to protect my energy, my own energy at all costs as well.
Absolutely. Two things that I think are extremely important that you mentioned, and it's awareness and resistance. And you are completely spot on. If you are just in one of those days and you are like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go for a walk. I don't want to do anything except for lay here in a blanket and feel bad for myself. And you feel so much resistance to even trying to move yourself out of that state. That is fine as long as you are aware that you are consciously making the choice to do that. I'm consciously making the choice to wallow in my sorrow today, and that is completely okay. And that is fine. So, and they go hand in hand. And to be aware of when you feel that resistance in your body, you mentioned, you don't have to go to the gym. I had the biggest resistance to that forever. Personally, that's not for me. That is not the way that I like to move my body at all. You just have to find what works for you. Like, truly find what works for you. And when you find what works for you, it works for you. I promise. Like, just for me, just walking, doing push-ups and some planks, and I've lost so much weight this year. I haven't stepped foot into a gym, like, there is never one way to do things. And so I'd love for you to talk about that. You mentioned it in the beginning of the podcast. I'm taking it full circle. And you said in the beginning that when you started traveling and you just saw all of these different ways people were living life, explain to us that bit of curiosity and how just the curiosity alone truly has led you to a life that you probably didn't even see for yourself 5, 10 years ago.
Ah, I love this. I literally say that curiosity is the one trait that will continue. I think actually, I would like two things. Curiosity and being delusional are the two things that have led me and will continue to lead me to the life that I want to get to. And I say delusional because most people play it safe. Most people stay in the place where they have a feeling of certainty, which is an illusion anyway, because like you could
Mhm.
literally lose your job tomorrow. So it's not really as certain as you think. Um, and being delusional and having that trust in that big vision and being curious around, again, what, like, especially when other people are doing things or have done things that I want to do, I just get curious about that because I want to learn how they got there, how they're thinking about it. Like, this is, I literally sometimes now in life, I've understand so much the power of how you're thinking just impacts everything. And I will literally ask people who are in a place that I want to get to, or who have chat, or who are a little further along, like, how are you thinking about it? Because I know that they are thinking about it differently to how I'm thinking about it right now, because otherwise I'd be in a different place. And I literally get curious
Mm,
from there, or I get curious on their journey and what they've been through and what they've done and the mistakes that they've made, because you can learn so much from that. And I'm genuinely just a curious person anyway. So I'm just like, I actually just I want to know, like, even if I'm connecting with, I'm connecting with someone, I'm like, I want to know like where you're from and what you're doing and what your day looks like and all of these things, because I just like, I can't even explain. Like, I'm just curious about that. Like, that's just, I'm like, why would I not want to know? So I think when things come from a genuine curiosity of like you are going after something and you want to get there, like literally just get curious of what that even looks like. And it doesn't even need to be through other people. You could literally like um search online for certain things or read certain things, or maybe there's a book that's calling you and you're like, that's calling me for a reason. Like, tap into that. There's probably some
mhm,
curiosity over there, and maybe that's going to lead you into a next step. Maybe you are listening to something, maybe someone else is going after something and you're noticing that, and that's just like pulling you in a certain direction, and you're like, start just that awareness, like start to notice those things. But the other thing, just building on from this, is that I am a big believer that we all have our own path in life, and that there are things that are going to light you up that are not going to light me up. And there's things that are going to light me up that would be your worst nightmare. Like, I literally have people in my life who my lifestyle right now is their worst nightmare, because
mhm.
for them having to having to think about moving around or traveling or get on a plane like that for them is literally like, I've literally had people tell me like, that is literally living hell for me right now. Like, I'm living through you, but like I would never do that. And I know people um who love to um like literally be on boats and travel that way around the world, and I get seasick. So for me, that would be my worst freaking nightmare. The point is, if you have a desire and there's something that you want to go after, that's yours. Get curious what that looks like. It could be wild. It could be unconventional. It could be crazy. I've literally had a client who went from working in a 9 to 5 job to becoming a licensed skydiving instructor. Anything is possible, guys. Like, if you want something, just get curious. If you have that little voice inside of you and something is calling you, listen to it. It's never too late. Like, you don't need to necessarily go from where you are right now to doing that overnight,
No.
but get curious and see, what would it actually take to get there? What would that look like? What would that feel like? Is there other people in the world that are doing this? If yes, great. That just means that it's possible that you could do it too. Literally just shifting your mindset into that, because I think that in itself is huge. And curiosity has definitely, and I know will definitely continue lead me to where I want to get to, because it just opens up so many things that you don't even know possible. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but even sometimes in the conversations that I'm having with people, and I'm curious around what they're listening to, or how they're thinking about something, or what they're reading. And then I go on to look into that. And then that leads to something else. Like, even for example, there's people that I know that I'm asking them like who they're following on social media, because I want to get more inspired by people. And then I might follow that person. I might connect her energy. That might lead to she's sharing something about the world that I want to get into, and I'm going into that masterclass, and might be like, oh my God, this is the thing I needed right now. That blew my mind. But if I didn't even get curious in the first place and ask that original person who she's following, that would never have even happened. So you just never know.
Yes.
But like, I think it has to be from a genuine energy of like, I just want to know more. Like, what does this even look like? What could this look like? What does this feel like?
Curiosity is what has completely transformed my life too. I've always been a curious person. If you're listening to this though and you're like, I don't know, maybe I'm not a curious person." Well, you can first of all become anything you want to be. So get curious. But curiosity for me, I think the word that maybe like would resonate too with is invisible bridges. That just being curious leads to somebody who opens a door for you, and a whole new pathway could unfold just because you got curious. It's like they're dropping little hints for you. This has been such a fun conversation. I absolutely adore you, and I really have loved this conversation, and I would just like for you to just share with everybody anything else that you have left that's on your heart or your mind. Um,
Well, the only other thing that's coming to mind now is actually two things, but the thing just building on from the last thing you shared around people maybe not thinking they're a curious person. the biggest thing that was coming up is that I speak to so many people, and I've been in this place before, and they're like, I don't have an imagination, or I'm not creative, or I'm not this enough, or I'm not that enough. And I want to argue on that because I think everyone is creative. Everyone can be what they choose to be. And for example, with the creativity side of things and the imagination, the biggest example I give, and like I literally share this to myself as well, is like I used to say I don't know how to imagine, or I don't have a good enough imagination, or I'm not creative and all of these things. But if I tell you now to not think of a pink elephant, what are you thinking about? It's literally in your mind, the first thing you're thinking about. If you are going after something and you're thinking or imagining all the worst things that can happen, you have a very good imagination, just maybe not in the direction that you want to be thinking. So you have an imagination, you just need to program it to think differently. And you have the power to do that, because if you're doing this right now, you can do that as well. It's just about working towards that. So to sum up, I think that you can be, do, and have anything and everything that you desire. You might not be able to do everything right now and in this moment. And I think the power of prioritization really comes into that. That's literally one of the first things I do with clients who are very multi-passionate and want to do lots of different things, is like, you can have everything, you can do everything, you can be, do, have everything, but not in this moment in time. So let's prioritize first. What is top priority right now? Get curious about that. Start taking one step and trust that the next steps are really going to unfold. And and yeah, who you surround yourself with is really powerful as well. I actually lead a free community as well for women who want to grow and rise together. So that's also, whether it's listening to certain things, surround whoever you're surrounding yourself with, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, makes a big, big difference. So choose your tribe, choose your mentors, choose the people that are going to inspire you, and take steps forward and trust in yourself as well. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this has been so wonderful. Everyone, I will leave all of Dalia's information in the show notes if you'd like to connect with her. I hope that you saw a piece of yourself in her story. I hope that you got something from this that truly makes you believe, okay, I can become whoever I want to be. The desire that's inside of me is meant for me. I'm going to get curious about that, and I'm going to recreate my life, and I'm going to see what life has in store for me. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day. If you're feeling called to recreate your life in 2026 and not do it alone, I want to invite you into the Rise and Recreate portal. It's a community for people who are ready to release old patterns, reconnect to themselves, and consciously create what's next. Inside, we gather for guided ceremonies where we set intentions, we rewire our subconscious, and we have honest conversations, all designed to help you trust yourself, take aligned action, and actually build a life that feels like yours. Right now, you can join for half off your first month, so it's the perfect time to step in, get supported, and recreate your life alongside people who truly get it. You'll find the link below, and I would love to see you in there.